Alrighty, YouTube, it's Outlaw, and this is going to be a guide for Thea 1 Lightning Storm. I had intended to wait until I did the full in-game mana swap before releasing the video and the guide, but I've got a lot of requests for the pre-mana swap, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll be updating the guide once I get the mana swap done. This is a very low APM build. We're only casting one ability every second or so. It's very cozy, very smooth. You have the option to go more damage or more defense, more tanky, and I've included both of those options in the guide. And it's just a nice, smooth character. You can level with the skill starting at level 7 with Thea and just progress through the game and feel the power growth. I would recommend that if you want to start this build, that you purchase the Raging support before even starting. You can play this build without Spell Burst, but this is set up for Spell Burst. The trees are set up for Spell Burst, and it will be much easier to follow along if you already have that support. Alrighty, guys, so let's go ahead and get into the video. But very first, I just let me get this out. Thank you so much. Before the season started, we were at less than 2,000 subs on the YouTube channel. We have recently passed the 2,500 mark, which has been like we passed it before I could even like really get to the point where I was like, hey, like shouting out the next sub goal. It's been crazy. The support's been crazy. The support on Twitch has been insane. So just thank you. It's been absolutely mind blowing. How well received everything has been this season, and I'm glad that you all are enjoying it. If you have any specific builds or any like questions about certain mechanics in general that I haven't covered that you would like to see or have guides for, just drop a comment below and let me know. I am more than willing to like play a character just because people want me to play that character and see how it plays out if there's no content for it available elsewhere. Anyway, enough rambling. I apologize. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this build. Thea 1 Lightning Storm. Let's go ahead and first show you the pro builds. In pro builds, if you're not aware, you can go up here, click pro builds and quick builds. Down here in the search bar, you can type in my name, ADR, and it will pull up the snapshots that I have for you. I have 4 snapshots available for this current build pre-mana swap. All of these will be listed in the written guide, which will be accompanying this video. As you can see, I've already got the written guide fully done up, going over all of your skills, your gear options, your hero traits, going over the campaign and those trees, etc., etc. That, of course, will be linked in the pinned comment. But anyway, let's just go through the build. What is Lightning Storm? Lightning Storm is an ability with a cooldown. You cast the ability, and you get these lightning storms right here. These lightning storms will then home onto nearby enemies and track them down and try to attack them. So for example, if we activate the dummy and come over here, if I cast my storms down here, it will try to target and go to the dummy. So see how they're swinging around and going to the dummy? And if I cast them over here, there they go. They track the nearest enemy and just latch onto them basically. And then once that enemy is defeated, they will move on to the next enemy until their duration is expired. It is a cooldown skill. We are using Spell Burst. Spell Burst is activated on this skill specifically by having the Raging Storm support. You can buy this in the auction house right now. The cheapest one is the absolute cheapest version of this support, which would be like a low roll tier 2, is going to cost you about 20 to 30 FE. And I highly suggest having this on hand before starting the character. You can, of course, once again, you can play this without the spell burst and then grow into it. It's just my preference is to have this on hand before starting, because a lot of things change when you don't have spell burst, and I have not really detailed that, unfortunately. To activate Spell Burst, we then put on the Psychic Burst, which lets the skill Spell Burst. And then one of the big things here in this character is that we're using, I keep opening the wrong thing. We're using the Solid River Helmet. What this does, so what Spell Burst does in general, is it stacks up our ability, and when we use the ability, however many stacks of Spell Burst we have, it casts that ability that many times. So when I have 8 Spell Burst, Every time I cast this ability, it's actually casting 8 clouds at once. So the big thing here is that Solid River doubles how many spell bursts we have maximum. So without this helmet, we only have 4. With the helmet, we have 8. As you can see with this setup, I cast the ability, and by the time the cooldown is back, we have all of our spell burst. Essentially, like if I hold this down and just let it cast, you'll see right around the moment we get right to 8, we're ready to just cast again. You are able to automate this if you would like to. I would not suggest doing so, but you can, if you would like to, use a burst activation medium on this. I don't feel it's necessary. It's very low APM already. In regard to the talent trees, or excuse me, let me go in regard to the skills. This is my preferred setup here, and I have detailed all the changes and such that I would make depending on what you have available on your gear in the written guide, so do not worry about that. My preferred setup is going to be Lightning Storm. I like Blurry Steps for a little bit for more movement speed. Biting Cold for my curse. Secret Origin Unleash is very nice because we are stacking focus blessings on this character. And then we're using Blizzard for more damage. In regard to auras, I'm currently using a spell amplification on my life. I'm using a precise ice focus with a focus buff and a grudge. I'm using a precise domain expansion and precise electric conversion. You can get precise versions of auras to drop off of watchers, or you can purchase them directly from the auction house. Now, in regard to some of the special supports that you'll be seeing on the skills, these supports here with stars, these are canvas supports. You can purchase these from the auction house or try to farm them in the canvas game mode. You can rank them up. Every rank will give you more additional damage multiplier. So each one will have an effect on the skill, but then there's also just this generic multiplier here. So 8% additional damage for the supported skill. So as you can see, level 3, it's 8%, but at level 5, that goes up to 20%. So that's what you're ranking up. To rank these skills up, you have to go over to Niv, the Blessed Mother Owl, go to skill advancement, and then feed copies of the skill into itself to level it up. And you'll also need the inspiration essence that is also farmed from canvas. On a lot of our supports, you'll see we have activation medium spell burst. You could try to farm these in Mistville, but again, you just buy these from the auction house. They're not super pricey. Like this one's like 10 FE. This one with the rolls that it has is 5. Like they're very, very cheap is what I'm trying to is the point I'm trying to get across. In the guide, I have detailed different candle mods that you may want to look for. My personal choice is to use 2 quote-unquote rampage candles. What these do is every time you defeat an enemy, you get 1% movement speed, damage, and skill area. These stacks up to 20 times per candle, and this does stack. So when this is fully charged in a map with 2 candles, I'm getting 40% movement speed, 40% skill area, and 40% damage. It is very, very nice. Be sure to double check your downsides on your candles. Bad negatives can really brick you. As for hero traits themselves, we're playing Thea 1, and Thea 1's whole thing is get a lot of focus blessings. If you want to know the simple, what does this character do? Get focus blessings, win game. We're going fully on the left side here. So as you can see, we get a lot of damage for every focus blessing. She will periodically consume the focus blessings, which is fine because we build them up basically immediately. So even though we're consuming them, we basically always have max stacks. And we're just getting crazy, crazy damage. Later on, once you're able to get double damage on your gear, you can eventually have the chance to quadruple your damage from her hero traits, which is pretty nutty. Speaking of hero traits and hero memories, let's just go over what we want now. On your hero memory, your first one, you want intelligence, nothing else. Mods that you're going to be looking for on both your fixed and your random affixes are going to be things like critical strike rating for spells, critical damage for spells, critical strike or critical damage rating for lightning, spell block, attack block, and things of that nature. For the middle one, you want max energy shield, and exactly the same thing on these mods here. And then lastly, I prefer to go movement speed for my fixed trait on my hero, on my memory. Or excuse me, I prefer to go movement speed on my base trait. You could go cast speed. Cast speed does increase our damage. That's going to be a personal choice. I've chosen to go the block route. I currently am set up in a very defensive setup. As you can see, I'm using a one-hander and a shield, and I'm also in the druid tree. In the build guide, I do mention the 2 optional trees that you can do. So on the trees, you can go. I would generally suggest that your 4th tree is the ranger tree for fluke, but I also detail how you can do the druid tree for lower damage but much more smooth mapping and tankiness. And of course, there are snapshots for both versions. As far as talents go for this build, we're going Goddess of Knowledge, Magister, and Lich always. And of course, as mentioned, you're going to go either Druid or Ranger, depending on what you would prefer with the character. In Goddess of Knowledge, we're going to be taking Chili for max blessings, and we're going to be taking Insight. With your pedigree, you have to get Chili or you have to get Beacon. You have to get one of these 2 mods on your pedigree, and whichever one you don't get, you take that mod. So if you get Chili on your pedigree, take Beacon in your tree. If you get Beacon on your pedigree, take Chili on your tree. You want both of those, period. And then you can look for extra stuff that's good for you. Like I, for example, have Endless Fervor for a bunch of critical strike chance. There's a lot of different core talents. Just look for things that increase your critical strike chance, or increase spell damage, or increase lightning or damage or cold damage for core talents to go along with Chili or Beacon on your pedigree. Going into Magister, we take a bunch. Again, we're stacking focus blessings. This is going to give us another max focus blessing, and it's also giving us 3% additional spell damage per focus blessing. Right now, my character has, I believe, 11 focus blessings. Let me see. Yeah, I have 11 focus blessings right now. In Lich, of course, we're taking the always amazing Off the Beaten Track. It's phenomenal. If you do not have an Undying Faith body armor, you will need to spec into some of these compensation nodes to be able to fit your aura on life. All right, now if you choose to go the Ranger tree, you're going to be coming in here for Fluke. This is going to give you lucky critical strike chance. If you don't know how lucky works in this game, lucky does not roll it twice. Lucky just figures out what your figures out what your average would be and adds that to your critical strike chance. The points here, fervor effect, you only take the fervor effect points if you're in this tree if you have fervor. So either endless fervor on a pedigree or if you have the Dawnbreaker belt. Otherwise, do not take these points. You will not have fervor and just move them elsewhere. And then the tread up that I'm running, which is less damage but more tank, is going to be with the Druid 4th tree option. Here, we're taking things like Regain, and we're taking Poison Relief. Because we're always considered low life, because we have all of our life reserved from an aura, we always have minus 15% additional damage taken, and then we also have 25% injury buffer. What this does, injury buffer, is whatever your percentage injury buffer is, that much of the hit damage that you take is instead delayed over 4 seconds. This works really well because we've got energy shield regen, and we've also got energy shield on defeat, and we also have energy shield regain. If you're unfamiliar with regain, what regain does is every X amount of there's a cooldown on regain, and you will regain this, whatever your regain amount is, you will regain that much of your missing health. So if you're missing 50% of your health and you regain, and you have 20% regain, you will regain 20% of the 50% missing health. Hopefully that makes sense. And then of course it has a base effect of every 0.5 seconds. This can be changed or increased or decreased in the tree and on gear and such. Moving into slates, again, the pedigree, you want Beacon or you want Chili. You have to have one of those so you can take the other one in your tree and then just look for something good. Endless Fervor is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if there's really any of these available though. There's only one. Yeah. You don't need Endless Fervor. It's really, really strong, but you can just look for other things that work with the build. Also, it's possible for you to find defensive talents on pedigrees for a lot cheaper than you might think. So you may be able to find like Beacon plus, Poison Relief, and then just go Fluke anyway in the Ranger tree. Be fluid with your pedigree choices. In regard to slates, these 2 focus mods, these are separate mods, and you can only one of these will count in your slates. You want both of these, period. The spell critical strike chance per focus blessing is also very, very nice and very strong. You definitely want max spell burst. This is requirement to get in there. Another nice one would be chance to mark on hits. Mark gives the enemy 20% less evasion and 10% additional critical strike damage taken. And then I found this recently. I've not had a chance to roll it out yet, but this is an absolutely fantastic slate not only is it giving you damage, not only is it giving you movement speed to help you move through the maps, because movement speed is the big crutch of this build and why I prioritize it so much in so many slots, but you're also getting cast speed per blessing, and you can get even more stuff on there. But this mod right here, this is like an unconditional, just are you killing stuff? Okay, go faster. It's fantastic. This might be one of, if not the best combinations you can get on a hunting slate. The guide, of course, does detail a lot of the other options that you can get on slates. And in general, past what I have listed, you're just looking for critical strike chance, cast speed, spell damage, things of that nature. For pets, I'm using a Boneworm's Daughter, I am using a Dreamweaver, and I am using a Violet. I think that's going to be the best 3 that you can get really on the build. But if you don't have those, fit what you can fit in, use what you have. When it comes to pets, you use what you got. It's that simple. I do have one Kismet on right now, which is the Ripple Kismet. This is not required, but really, really nice. I don't know how much these are. I bought this like super early for like 50 FE. I do not know how much these are now. Let's find out together. Okay, so these are about 100 FE. I only have one, and I have not really invested into Destinies or Kismet yet, just because I knew I was going to be doing the mana swap later on. But if you're going to be staying on this setup for a while, you could always invest into like intelligence smalls or mediums, which would be a lot of damage. As for my current gear, Solid River, of course, non-negotiable. I'm using a False God skin. You can also use Illusion Ocean Silky Chili. This is a really nice amulet. It does give you minus cold res, but it gives you an extra focus blessing. It gives you a free curse on hit. Gives you flat damage and life and energy shield, so it's a really nice amulet. I prefer to drop this when I can, just because the minus 20 cold res is kind of a pain in the butt, and swap to False Gods at some point instead. The belt, my belt's only T2. It needs to be upgraded, but I don't want to pay for a T1 belt when I'm going to be swapping the mana. On your blending, you're looking for max focus blessings. You could also get max spell burst or +1 to all skill levels. You want to be using 2 Heart of Magic rings until you feel the need that you need to get more resistances, in which case you're going to craft out a T2 or a T1 resistance ring. For your early weapons, 2 Oversights is really good, but a T2 staff is going to absolutely demolish the Oversights. And then a T2 staff, right now I have a T1 wand and a priceless partially crafted shield. A T2, a similar level 10 staff is going to absolutely crush the damage that you have from a wand and a shield, but the wand and the shield is going to be more tanky, so it's going to be a determination. Generally, you probably go 10 staff, but I really like shields this season, so I'm trying to use them a lot. Israfel's Law. Get these gloves. They will more than double whatever damage you're doing, period. Get them. Before you can get them, you can use things such as the Blinding Bracers. Blinding Bracers and Crow's Plume, by the way, is a really cheap and just really strong combo. You can just kind of like throw on anything to give you extra defense, to give you extra damage, and to give you paralysis. So like you'd be able to paralyze things, which means they take 15% additional damage, which is a multiplier. Blinding Bracers with the Crow's Plume, you're always blinding, so you always have 20% additional damage to enemies, which is again another multiplier, and you take 12% less damage. This is such a strong core. It's hard not to use it on like every build. For me, it really is. It's like my go-to thing. For the boot slot, afterwards you can upgrade. I would not upgrade your boot slot until you get T1 boots. That way you can get like plus to lightning skills. Otherwise, I wouldn't upgrade that T2. I would just be using Crow's Plume more than likely. Body armor, early on, you can use a couple of things, but you can go Shattered Moonlight. It's decent damage for the build, but I really prefer Undying Faith. It gives us extra damage. It lets us free up points in the talent tree to not have to put them into mana compensation. It's just a fantastic chess piece overall. But if you don't want to get an Undying Faith, Shattered Moonlight is also a very strong option. And then the super cheap option is going to be Corrupted Bulwark. You'll definitely be losing damage, but you'll be getting a ton of energy shield from this thing. And that's about going to do it for the video guide for this. Of course, again, once in the pinned comment, there is going to be a written guide, and I will be updating that once I do the mana swap to include that information as well. I may also make a separate video in regard to the mana swap if there's a lot of like need for that, just to give you a quick update on the build. So just let me know what you want to do. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you for doing so. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed this build as much as I have. It's been something that I've wanted to play since I did a test run last season and just kind of really liked the feel and playstyle. And if you want to see this in action, you can always stop by the Twitch stream or the YouTube stream. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic league, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.